What's up, guys? This is Alexander. Obviously, subject of discussion for this Periscope, catastrophic thinking. So catastrophic thinking is I guess you could say, a form of panicking, but basically catastrophic thinking refers to a frame of perception where you are in a situation or encounter a situation and you almost automatically begin just assuming, believing that everything that can go wrong will go wrong, or everything that could be wrong is wrong. So you catastrophize. And catastrophic thinking, for some people, you can associate with, not being able to handle stress, or perhaps there are certain areas of your life where, for whatever reason, this kind of situation, maybe it's having to have an argument with somebody, maybe it's having to confront somebody about something, maybe it's a conversation about money. It triggers a catastrophic cascade where you just start believing and thinking ahead to all the ways it's going to get fucked up and screwed up and what if. So overcoming catastrophic thinking, it happens in a lot of domains. Some people, it can be very common in some situations and disastrous in other situations. I've seen this, even with, very masculine together men where they've got every area of their life under control, but when it comes to women or having to talk to their wife or just dealing with females in general, good God, do they break down immediately. So how do you get over this? Well, it's not an easy thing to get over, but the perception shift is like any other thing in regards to mentality. You have to evaluate your frame of mind and consider how it is that you view things as they happen. Or how is it that you view things really, not even as they happen, but how is it that you view things as a whole? If you are in a situation, if you are somebody where, let's just be generic, you freak out with confrontation with people. Understandably, okay, you freak out, that can be a contentious subject. Why is it that you're freaking out? Why do you feel that everything's going to go wrong before anything has ever happened? Do you consider those situations to be end-game disaster situations? Shifting your frame of mind means reordering how you see reality in a certain sensibility. If you view situations as opportunities, or you view any obstacles as ways to learn or improve yourself, well, then maybe it's not going to be such a catastrophe. If you view things as simply mundane, you learn how to manage your emotions and realize that everything you think or feel is not directly affecting the situation, and just because you feel something is not going to determine the outcome, then you can avoid catastrophe. If you react to how you feel, and you assume that how you feel is real, and you assume that the worst is going to happen, and you have given up on the idea that you can perceive things any differently than how you perceive them, then things are always going to be bad. So overcoming catastrophic thinking, overcoming even panic and that sensibility, it requires a perceptual shift in your frame of mind, in your mindset, and how you see the world at large. If you have one domain that freaks you out, you need to confront that domain slowly and start to reconsider how you can view it as an opportunity for growth, or just view it as a neutral scenario in which there is no good or bad. Things simply are. That's another way to view it. And you can do all these things at the same time. So you can expose yourself to it gradually. You can detach yourself from emotions, feel them, let them go. And then perhaps over time, you'll find that you get more comfortable in that given situation. You also just can consider, of your own accord, this is an exercise to do. How do I see things? Why do I see them this way? Is there a better way to see things? Is there a better way to perceive? What would be the more advantageous reality? You have to be able to ask yourself that question at times. Is this to my advantage? Is my reaction to my advantage? Is my perception to my advantage right now in this situation? And if it's not, well, then consider what the alternative would be. This is not an overnight thing. It will take practice, but it can happen. People that are very calm, people that possess fortitude, people that are chill, they keep a cool head about them, they usually don't get that way by accident. They understand that mentality can be something that can be trained, your mindset can be something that can be practiced, and then over time they arrive at that state of being where they are, unshakable, to say it that way. So, that's all I got to say about the subject. Talked out. But the reason I brought it up, I had a friend that had a panic attack recently, also had a family member that had a panic attack recently, and I realized talking to them that they are catastrophizers and everything freaks them out. And in talking to them and trying to kind of figure out why did you react so poorly, I realized that they tend to view everything as just going wrong all the time. at least relative to those situations. It really was not within their frame of mind at all it was not within their frame of thinking to even think that those situations might have positive outcomes, or that they could be experienced positively, or that they could even be neutral, of it in themselves. Maybe not everything is a positive situation, but would you rather have negative or would you rather have neutral? If you can shift something to being neutral, well, now you can handle it better. Very bad habit. Yeah, it is a bad habit. And the reality is that the most of the time, the catastrophizing, it's farcical. It's delusional. You are creating obstacles that don't exist. So, you are the problem in that sense. Any questions, guys? This was a rambling Periscope, but then they all kind of are. More talks like this, please. Okay, maybe that. I never quite know what you guys want to talk about, but I never really ask you. How old are you? 28. Good words. Thank you. Yes, no, maybe so, ladies and gentlemen. I get anxious with new boss. This helps. Yeah, you have to talk to your boss. You have to talk to the boss. Yeah, that's very common that people freak out over authority figures. I have to talk to somebody that they're in charge. The reason that they're in charge is because they're good at talking to people. Generally speaking. Yeah, I mean, if they're not, then they're not. But if it's someone that you're going to have to deal with, and it's part of their profession that you do, just speak to them. Yeah, it's been a long time since I had a boss. A long time, actually. But I've been in a situation where fuck, you gotta go talk to the boss. Go talk to the boss. Very rarely, unless if you're catastrophizing, I don't know, maybe you're gonna get fired. They're gonna be mad at you. Unless you work for an absolute asshole where they truly are hell to deal with, that's rarely the situation. It's more so just the reticence that this person, they have some power, and what do they think of me? If you're doing what you need to do, you're probably fine. When I was the boss of people, at one time I was in charge of managing trainers, etc. Probably about 80% of them, they always were hesitant to come talk to me about anything, and for no real reason. They thought, well, there was the same reason maybe you're unsure about it. You're uncertain. What if he's mad? What if he gets upset? What if I don't get approval? A good boss, even an okay boss, that's not why they're the boss. Their job is to manage you and get you to do well. Hopefully, or just keep you doing your job. They're not there to get mad of their own accord. That's kind of a young person problem, I think. The fear of talking to a boss, but it can also happen to people that are older. Some people just always have a problem with authority. Not a problem with authority, but it's a problem interacting with authority. It always freaks them out. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? $18 seconds, guys. If you're going to ask, then ask. If not, I'll cut this off. Watching me hydrate myself, I don't think is that interesting. Where'd the cap go to this? So internal dialogue is key then? I don't know who Billy Ray is. Drinking from a jug is always classy. It is. Yeah, internal dialogue. Your internal dialogue is your internal narrative. It's your stream of conscience. How do you talk to yourself? And how you talk to yourself is based upon how you perceive, like I said, how you perceive reality. If you think you are at odds with reality, you think that reality is at odds with you, you think that the world is your opponent, your internal dialogue is probably not going to be to your advantage. You're always going to be coming up against something. If you believe that the world is abundant, you believe that you have the power to affect positive change, you believe that you are in control of your life, then your internal dialogue will probably be one that serves you. So there's a few parts to it. You have perception, you have beliefs, you have how you speak to yourself and the words that you use, and then cumulatively those kind of form of trifecta, it shapes your view of the world. And you need to analyze those things if you're trying to improve. You're not in control. No, you are in control. There's only two things you have control over. Mentality, physicality, that's it. So those three things, they'll shape what your life really becomes, if nothing else. Or everything, really. Nothing else. That really is, that's not even a nothing else situation. That is what is everything. Thoughts on developing belonging community friendships? Good question. Last question, I'll answer that one though. I literally just had this conversation with a family member. So developing friendship communities, relationships, you guys have all the tools available to you to build relationships. You have the phone. I'm on the phone right now talking to you guys. We have all the tools to build relationships. In the age that we live in, though, relative to the digitalization of media and connectivity and connection and just general interaction, we live in an era of society where you have to prioritize connecting, interacting with people. You have to prioritize your relationships with people. You have to prioritize relationship building. So it's not just a factor that you have all these tools available. You do, but are you using them effectively? And at the same time, relative to the demands that you might have placed upon you, you're probably not going to meet people by accident. Maybe you will. Maybe you're in college and you're just going to end up meeting people. Maybe you're at a job and you end up becoming friends with people at work. The majority of our relationships we form in our lives, they're relationships of proximity. We're just around people, and because we're around those people, we end up talking to those people, and those people become our friend. Very rarely do we actually plan out who we are going to meet and plan our relationships. We can do that now today because, like I said, we have these tools available to us where if I want to meet a certain kind of person, who I think reflects my values, who I think I'll get along with, who I think will make my life better, I can get on the internet and I can literally find them. I can find a community of them. I can find like-minded people, as the saying goes, and those people, I can start building a relationship with them. They can become my friends. And maybe it might take some time before we meet each other in real life, and maybe we never see each other that much, in actual physical proximity, but we can have that kind of correspondence relationship where we feel that we're reinforcing each other, we're supporting each other, and, truthfully speaking, that relationship is gratifying and it improves myself and themselves. We can do that now. So when it comes to building a community, though, well, you kind of have to think big on this. What kind of people do you want to meet? What kind of person are you? And what's the forum and the setting that you want to be meeting them in? If you want to set up, an actual physical situation for yourself in a city, in an area where you live, in your own, obviously your home, where you have a community of friends and, let's say, friends, extended family, etc., you're going to have to actively plan that. You're going to have to make that happen. You're going to have to share that vision with other people. That's not just going to happen by accident. It's not just going to happen by you just meeting people and, we're friends now. You'll have to plan it out. And when I say think big, you're going to have to think of some way to create that brings people together actively, for a purpose, where then that kind of connection can happen. In terms of finding communities, that can happen. If you're someone, to use a recommendation I use often, if you go and do jiu-jitsu, you'll meet people that like to do jiu-jitsu, and they'll probably be maybe people that you like to get along with, become friends. Same thing, for any kind of martial art that you want to do, some combative form. If you go to any kind of gym that does that, you're going to meet people also doing the same thing. Obviously, they're pursuing excellence in it, or at least training in it, and now you have an opportunity for friendship. If you're religious and you go to church, well, then you're probably going to meet people at church, and they share your religion. They probably share some of your values. Okay, now you have the opportunity to build, community friendships. If you're alone, though, and you just work a job, and then you come home and you rent an apartment and you just have roommates and you don't have a community, you're going to have to be the center of your community if you want to start that yourself. No other way to go about it. Find something that's a commonality, whether it be values, skill set, some sort of pursuit thereof. Build a community around that, bring people together on it, and you're going to have to reach out and actively talk to people, correspond with them, online, in person, and understand that not everyone's going to necessarily share your enthusiasm. Not everyone you meet is going to want to maintain that connection. You're going to have to prioritize that, and it's going to take work. You're going to have to literally schedule it. That was a point I made with my family member earlier, where I was talking to her, and I told her that relationships require scheduling. She was lamenting she was discussing a situation, having met a guy, and where they stand, blah, 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 bullshit, and he lives not close by. She has to go drive to see him. And I was just telling her to the effect that, this is not a statement on dating. This is a statement on if you want to build a relationship with this person, do you want to make that a priority or not? Because it's just not going to happen by itself. People are too busy. We have too many responsibilities. Life is hard. There's a lot that if you're an ambitious person, there's a lot that you're trying to do on any given day. adding in another person to the fold of, okay, now this is another person I have to build a relationship with, that takes time. Just like it takes time for me to talk to you guys. This has been 15 minutes. That's time. You know, but I spend this for a reason, because I think it, you know, is both positive. It keeps me interacting with people. I build relationships. It's good for you guys, I think, since it seems the feedback is positive. But it takes time. Everything takes time. Relationship is predicated upon time. If you're not going to spend the time doing something, well then, you know, finding the community, probably not going to happen. Creating the community, probably not going to happen. And energy, yeah, time is energy. You know, building the friendships, it's not going to happen. You cannot live by accident. As I like to say, do not live by accident, because nothing is going to go your way that way. Alright, good question. I think I've said about as much as I can say on it. At least it's off the top of the conscience. Talk to you guys again. Good luck. Train hard. I'm going to go work out.